the Packers, obviously, tough loss on Sunday to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady. And Aaron Rodgers in his post-game press conference created quite a buzz when he said...
He was shell-shocked. He was. He had to be shell-shocked, Chris, after that game.
After the loss?
Yeah,
well,
just the way it played out.
You mean the way the way people took his words? Or are you talking about just shell-shocked from the game?
From the game, you know what I mean, not getting a chance to throw it to fourth down, like giving another opportunity.
Right. Absolutely. And he said, there are a lot of guys with uncertain futures. They got Aaron Jones, their top running back. A lot of people think he'll be gone. He'll be a free agent. Mercedes Lewis, who is Rodgers' best friend on the team, may be gone. And Rodgers said, we got a lot of uncertainties about the future, including my own. And he's under contract, Rob, remember, till 2023.
Right. There's still 3 more years, right?
Yeah, next year it's like if the Packers wanted to get out of it, next year would be the time. So there really was in my mind, there really isn't much reason to even bring that up if you're Aaron Rodgers. But he did, and it caused a stir. Does he want out? Are they going to get rid of him? Whatever. And today he went on the Pat McAfee Show and tried to clear things up. Here he is.
I don't feel like I said anything that I hadn't said before. I said it the first time I talked to the media. It was more a realization, I think, that ultimately my future is not necessarily in my control. I don't think that there's any reason why I wouldn't be back. But look, I think there's not many absolutes, as you guys know, in this business. So to make an absolute statement about something that is not an absolute, I didn't do it, and I guess that's why it went kind of nuts.
Now, Rob, I'm about to turn it over to you, but there was a report in Pro Football Talk, Mike Florio, according to a source close to Rodgers, saying Rodgers wants a new contract. Now, that is why he said what he said right after the game on Sunday. Now, I'm going to say this and then turn it over to you. He didn't, in that little blurb we just heard from the Pat McAfee Show, he didn't sound like a guy who was looking for a new deal. Now, he might be, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't sound like he was playing games and being, calculated and all that. But what are your thoughts on this whole thing?
Well, I think what he was saying had some truth to it. I'm with you. His contract doesn't call for them to cut him loose. Chris, there are times when in the NFL, when there is that year where if you cut him loose, it's not going to cost you a lot. Bill Belichick did that in New England a million times, Chris, with great players, right?
Right.
There's
Big
the
Ben
window.
This year. We talked about that before. Big Ben this year could be the year.
Exactly. So that's not unusual. I'm with you. I think just because he even made a question of whether or not he would be back, and I think he was talking about the team because of all the loose strings and people becoming free agents. And, like the Packers have a 3-headed monster at running back. Do you let Aaron Jones walk, Chris, and go with the other 2 younger guys who are cheaper? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's football. That's what happens a lot when other guys emerge and you realize, well, we could use somebody else who's a lot cheaper and we could use money elsewhere. So I'm with you on that standpoint. The new contract, I'd be surprised when he signed it. It was a big contract. He's still getting paid big dollars. It's not like he's dwarfed under and he's not making. Yes, he's coming off what looks like an MVP year, right, Chris? That he'll win the MVP.
Be the MVP, yeah.
Right. So does he have any leverage? Is this your last contract at 37 years old? Can you squeeze a little more guaranteed money out of the organization? Maybe that's the case, but I'm with you. From the sound bites that I heard from the show, I didn't get a sense or a real angst like, I'm fired up, I'm pissed, I don't want to be here. They're gonna have to pay me to stay here. There's things that you could have heard in a conversation, and I'm saying I didn't hear the whole interview, but from the sound bites I heard, I didn't get that feeling.
Yeah, that leak where he wants a new deal. It almost sounds to me like that may have come from the Packers side. And it might be somebody that's somewhat in the know, but I'm with you. And Robin, I'll tell you this. I don't think that Rodgers was thinking that way. And I don't want to believe that he was thinking that way. I mean, moments after a bad loss, when you played well, but you weren't right. You weren't tremendous. You weren't great, but you played well. I would hate to think, and Rob, think about it. Do you think he's thinking, man, they better pay me next year?
I don't believe
he's hurt over the loss. I mean, this was the year. He had everything he wanted, the home field advantage. He's going to be the MVP, best year.
Right, exactly.
Right, so I just don't believe that at that moment in time. Now, look, if it comes up next week, a month from now, then that's fair because he is underpaid. His cap number is a lot higher than his actual salary. Rob G, isn't he making something like $23 million next year or something like that?
Correct, because he got most of his money in bonus early.
Right, because he got it up front. I mean,
right.
so I mean, and in the NFL, Chris, you want your money up front.
Exactly.
So he got
all of it up front as much as you can get.
Right.
Absolutely.
When he got paid, he if you took $50 million and put it in the bank, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
The salary's not nearly as important.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a weird story that was out, but you might be right, Chris. Could have been floated by somebody on the Green Bay side. I don't expect him going anywhere. Obviously, they drafted Jordan Love. Aaron sat for 3 years. They drafted him when they had a Hall of Fame quarterback in Brett Favre. He didn't play for 3 years, Chris.
If Aaron
you don't
Rodgers
see that
can sit
anymore.
for 3 years, no. And I believe the salary structure probably was different than it is today. They're going to have to decide on Jordan Love. Like, do we re-sign him, at some point after that third year or whatever. But
if he
Jordan
had
Love didn't even suit up this year, Rob.
No,
not it wasn't even like he was backup. He wasn't carrying the clipboard. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way. And I would be, I'm sorry. The Green Bay Packers, let's give them credit. They found a way to do what most teams have not done, which is, after you lose a great quarterback, you know this, right? You saw it with Miami and Dan Marino, Dallas and Troy Aikman. Right. You see it over and over again. When the great quarterback leaves, generally, Jim Kelly in Buffalo, John Elway in Denver, you go through a down period. Yes. Yep. And they avoided that by drafting Rodgers. But, Rob, if they were to go to Jordan Love, and I'm with you, I don't think they will, next year, I'm like, what are you in it for?
Right.
I mean, really, are you in it just to be relevant, just to have your community team, you're pretty good, and the folks in Green Bay love you and all that? Or are you in it to win Super Bowls? Because I'm telling you, Rob, and, I had fun with you yesterday, and obviously I had the Buccaneers in the game. Green Bay got a good chance next year to win it.
Right.
You run that thing back, period. There's no doubt if you don't run it back, then to me, you're not really trying to win Super Bowls.
No,
I'm sorry.
I agree. There's no way you can make a change like that off of a quarterback, Chris. It would be unprecedented that a quarterback got you to an NFC Championship game, was the MVP of the league, and you went with a guy who didn't even didn't even dress last year. Like people would be like, what? Even people in Green Bay. And I get it. You rather get a guy out of there, Chris, a year earlier than a year late, but not coming off an MVP season.
He's going to be great next year, too. And whether he's MVP or not, he's still going to have a good season.
And here's the other part. At 37, Chris, he's a little different than your typical 37-year-old for one reason. He didn't play his first 3 years. Do you know what I mean? Like, he didn't have the wear and tear that a normal 37-year-old would have. That's a little bit of an advantage. I'm not saying like he's 27, but you know what I'm saying? 3 years not playing.
But you're right. I mean, look at Roethlisberger.
Right.
He's more beat up. And plus, as we know, Rob, guys are just now everybody's not going to be Tom Brady. But heck, Drew Brees, 42, you saw the decline. But last year he was really good at 41. 40 was really good. So what's to say Aaron Rodgers can't do that? So would you, if he wants a new deal, would you extend him? What would you do?
Coming off this year and how he looked, yeah, if it could be workable, but it would have to be, like give the guy some money, not a long-term deal, Chris. Look at it and say, we're banking and we want to give 3 more years and get a chance of winning a Super Bowl.
Right.
I would sign him for 3 years. Up the money, whatever, but a 3-year deal. Have Jordan Love ready to go after 2 more years. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, that would be my plan.
Their thought process cannot, and I get it. Maybe Jordan Love, he obviously didn't show him too much because he didn't even get in the uniform. But, your thought process can't be, well, what about Jordan? I'm sorry. It can't be that. And I'm with you. Like, I would try to talk to Aaron about, let's play this out, or like you said, maybe another year or 2 added on or something. I wouldn't try to go too far with it. Because obviously, like we said, he's locked up till 2023.
Right, and
3 years left. So.
In that article, Chris, on Pro Football Talk, it was about that he wanted it because he wants the Packers. He wants a commitment from the Packers.
Right.
And I get it. When you go out and draft that guy, he was that guy. He eventually replaced, right, Brett Favre.
Yep,
so he knows he was that guy. He replaced a legend, right?
Yep.
So I understand it. He knows what goes on. He knows the business. He can't act like it's a shocker because he was in the same situation. But I expect him to be business as usual, Chris. If they could work out a deal to compensate him for what he was able to accomplish this year and a little bit of a commitment to say, we're committed to you for the next 3 years. We're trying to win a Super Bowl before you hang it up. And
right.
then Jordan Love be ready.
LaFleur when he said he wants him back next year. Like, there's no
I do
way.
too.
Because, look, at the end of the day, you can talk about, Rodgers he's bigger than Matt LaFleur. Does LaFleur want a quarterback that's not as big as him? At the end of the day, Matt LaFleur wants to win a Super Bowl.
Right.
Especially, Rob, coming off of this fiasco when he made that bad call. So, come on. I think he'll be back. I'd be shocked if he's not back at least next year.
Right. And he knows his better chances are with Rodgers. Come on. Anybody would know that. So that would be child's play.
What do you think Aaron Rodgers' future in Green Bay should look like? Your turn to weigh in.
And don't forget, in about an hour or so, you have a chance to call in and get ready for a Trash Talking Tuesday here on The Odd Couple. Your chance to trash anyone, anything in the world of sports. All right, let's go to, let's start, Chris, with James in Virginia. You're on The Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, James?
Oh, thank you for taking my call, gentlemen. Happy Tuesday, man. We are Washington, man. You guys are blowing up because it's hard to get into y'all show now, man. As an Odd Couple OG, I love it, man. I love it. But you guys are blowing up.
Thank you.
Well,
thank you, brother.
No doubt, man. Hey, but if Tom Brady is the luckiest of all time, then Aaron Rodgers is the unluckiest of all time, man. Because I thought about it. It does take a lot of luck to get to a Super Bowl and to win a Super Bowl. And to see his team, man, to let him down like that, this guy, you don't know how many more years he can really play because you never know with injuries or not. So to me, man, as a Washington fan, I would give up everything for Aaron Rodgers, man. I hope that Washington pushes their chips into the table. But as far as Green Bay, they have to push their chips in front of the table, man, because you don't know how long you have with such a quarterback, man. It's not very often you go from a Brett Favre to an Aaron Rodgers, and who knows what Jordan Love can be, man. So you got to take them as they come. So the fact that they even drafted Jordan Love just showed that they not all in, man. They got to go all in for Aaron Rodgers because, like you said, you only get to see greats for so long, man. Hey, keep rolling, guys. Have a great night. We are Washington.
Yep.
All right,
thanks,
brother,
James.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
He pretty much reiterated everything we said.
Yep. He put it all back out there. Thank you for that. How about George in New York? You're on The Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, George?
Hey, what's up, you guys? I would be very surprised if the Packers won another Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, the essence of Rodgers is the fact that not once did he take accountability during that press conference. Did he say it was my fault? That's the difference between him and Brady. And the fact that
when did Brady say he lost a Super Bowl?
Excuse me.
No, George, I'm asking you to answer me a question.
I'm talking about Aaron Rodgers.
I'm asking you a question. Hello. Okay, we could move on from George. He doesn't want to
I do agree with you, George. I
It's a
think
talk
in
show.
general, Brady takes more.
I'm just
Rodgers
asking him to
doesn't
name the
take
time that he said that Brady
I mean,
said.
he probably don't know off the top of his head, but I
Okay,
think
that's what I'm
Brady
asking.
does. It's not unusual for Brady to say, "I got to play better. I didn't do my job." Or you rarely, if ever, hear Rodgers say that.
Eric in Arizona, you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. Okay, how about Dr. Midnight in Ontario, Canada, my man. Oh, Canada.
You got it, brother. How are you guys doing today?
We're
We're
doing
good,
great.
man. How are you?
Not too bad. First of all, rest in peace to your colleague there. I didn't follow him, didn't know too much about him, but hearing you guys speak so highly about him just shows how much you guys care about him and his family. So rest in peace to him and his family there.
Man, thank you.
Thank
Sekou
you.
Smith from NBA TV and NBA.com. If you watch any NBA coverage on Turner, you know you've seen him and you know his work. Definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, blessed to the man and his family here. I just find for Rodgers, I think he does want to leave. The whole situation about salary demands, it's kind of convenient for him to mention that at the conclusion of the game. I would have usually when you hear something about salary demands, you usually hear it throughout the course of the season. So to hear it at the end of a game such as that just makes me suspicious that that's just his way of trying to get out of Green Bay. He's forcing Green Bay's hand to say, okay, he's 37 years old, are we going to pay him that much money, or are we in a better position to let him go? So I think that's just a ploy for him to get out of Green Bay and to move on to another team. One last thing, I appreciate all the baseball talk. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Always. We
like
talk
we
the
said,
most baseball.
Yep, Rob. I'd hate to think he's thinking that at that point.
I just
in time.
don't.
It's hard.
Yeah,
to
I
believe.
just don't believe that.
Right.
That didn't come out of his mouth, Chris. You know what I mean? I mean,
exactly.
The question about the future, I get, because there's free agents and all kinds of other things. But he didn't go like, oh, yeah, if I don't get a new deal here, I'm out of here.
Right,
I mean,
right.
if he said that after that game, oh, yeah, I think everybody would lose respect for a guy talking about a contract after a heart-wrenching loss. Pat in New Hampshire, you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Pat?
Hi, how you doing? I tried to call a few times, but out of other topics. So I just want to bring up one thing about one bias down. You talk about tragedy in basketball, right here in Boston. You know, that to me was the drug epidemic. That was the worst.
Oh,
that's another one I remember where
that was a bad one, right? Because he didn't even get to play, right?
Yep.
I mean, that was after he got drafted.
The day after the draft.
It was the day after the draft. He had supposedly like a drug binge or something.
Right.
I thought that LeBron would come to Boston and wear his number, but in his in his honor, in his remembrance. And anyway, back to the what else we're doing. I was talking about Shady Brady. They call him that on your station in New York. You know, Shady Brady. And
Shady Brady.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of his either. I think he's there's about I don't know how many quarterbacks I take over him. Like Joe for one game. Believe me, there's a lot more quarterbacks than insult to me. I've been watching, since '58 was Unitas and Connolly. He's not the greatest quarterback. Back to one other thing before I got to hang up. We had to talk about the three superstars you had in L.A. with Chamberlain and Baylor and West. We had Sam Jones, John Havlicek, and Russell will take anybody, who I'll take any day at any time.
Well, we appreciate it. And, Chris, you know what? He's a loyal listener to our show, you could tell. And Pat was trying to get him in because he can't get through.
I'm glad they got him in. I'm glad they got you in, brother.
Pat, we appreciate you in New Hampshire.
Yes,
Absolutely.
indeed.